Tonight, tonight, the world is full of light, with suns and moons all over the place. Tonight, tonight, the world is wild and bright, going mad, shooting sparks into space. Today the world was just an address, a place for me to live in, no better than alright. But here you are, and what was just a world is a star tonight.
My name is Jenna Burns, and I play Maria.
And my name is Kevin Hack, and I play Tony. I really put myself into the character, 90% of the show, but there is that 10% of the show where I really have to dig deep to find something. In my personal life, I've let a lot of anger go, and at the end of the show, I have to go through an angry period, and it's very, very difficult to tap into that since I've let a lot of my anger and go in my own life. And the way that I was trained in my craft is to tap into personal experiences, and I find myself struggling sometimes to tap into certain periods of my life where I was very, very upset. So I have to really, really dig deep in those times where I have to find anger.
Yeah, and for myself, it's pretty similar to what Kevin was saying. It's, a lot of my second act is very emotional and intense, and there's some days that it's easier to tap into, and other days that it's not quite as easy. So most of the time, it's just finding new ways every show to make it be more and more real and more genuine. Even if Jenna, I'm in a great mood and I'm not feeling upset at all, and I'm trying to tap into that. That's definitely the biggest challenge for me, but it can be the most rewarding because each day that I find something new to tap into, it just adds that much more depth to the character. I mean, Maria is a young girl who's just moved to America from Puerto Rico and has experienced very little of life. She's been very sheltered. And that's kind of like the base layer that I was given kind of from our director. And from there you discover more things with her relationship with her brother and how he has kept her sheltered. And so what does their relationship look like? And what's her relationship with Anita? And what's her, and how does that inform how she responds when she meets Tony, and then when the circumstances start happening where the show starts to take a turn, how does everything else that we've established about this character, how does that affect how she responds when tragedy hits and when problems start happening? And so there are a lot of things about this show and about this character that I think people wouldn't necessarily think or they wouldn't notice at first glance, but because we've spent so much time diving into these characters, and we do this show so much that we're constantly discovering things that make them more real. And even if there are tiny details that the audience wouldn't necessarily notice, I think that without me knowing them, it would make the character be less authentic and less like a real person.
I mean, the show being 100% of choreography, we do about 2% choreography. We don't really do much in dancer terms. I mean, the only thing that we really do is when we meet each other, we do the cha-cha dance, but we do a condensed version of the cha-cha dance that everybody else is doing behind us. But and I think the only reason we do that cha-cha dance is to kind of highlight how powerful the first meet of a person with love at first sight can actually be, because there's no words behind it. It's just all we can do is dance, and that goes with a lot of the dancing in West Side Story. Like, especially with Dance at the Gym, it's just like everybody's screaming at each other, and there's no more scream and there's no more hate that can be shown unless and all they could do is just dance it out and show how much they hate each other in the dance.
We started our rehearsals for this production mid-October of 2016, and we we started previews mid-November, so it was about a month, and then we technically opened like 2 weeks later. So total about 6 weeks basically until our actual opening. So most people are surprised at how quickly we're able to get the show up and running. And it's, we're during our rehearsal process, we are living, sleeping, eating, breathing West Side Story, and so you learn it pretty quick, and it causes you to get close as a company. We all really become a family, which is really great.
I think we learned the show as a whole in about a week and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, the dancers knew all the choreography after 5 days.
Yeah, for the first week.
And we, just getting the intent is the hardest part, like that, getting that built into your system, because this show is heavy, it's very, very heavy emotion, and getting that right is what takes the most time. Yeah. So it's not, learning the dance steps, I can't speak for the dancers because I don't know how hard it was to learn, all the dancing, but I can only imagine.
They seem to pick it up pretty quickly. It's more of the emotion behind things that can be harder to tap into sometimes, so.